Hello friends, welcome to Mahipal Reddy's GK House. Today we are going to discuss important topics like the appointment of new election commissioner, global economic prospects, railway gets new spectrum, Dehing Patkai National Park, and the book released by National Medicinal Plant Board, most livable cities report, e-Nirman portal, Anupratik scheme, and ACI Pacific green port recognition. Okay, these are very important for you. Let us begin with the first topic, that is the appointment of new election commissioner. So basically we must know who appoints a election commissioner. Okay, election commissioner is appointed by the President of India on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers, on the aid and advice of the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers. Okay, and coming to the officer who got appointed is Anup Chandra Pandey. What is his name? Anup Chandra Pandey. Okay, he is 1984 IAS officer. He worked under the Yogi Adityanath government as a chief secretary. So currently we have a three-membered body, of course. Central Election Commissioner, who is Sushil Chandra, and coming to the other election commissioner, whose name is Rajiv Kumar. Rajiv. And as far as the election commission is concerned, it is an independent body, independent and constitutional body. What is this? Constitutional body. So what is the article which mentions about election commission of India? That is article 324. So where election commission has the power of direction, superintendence and control of election for parliament, state legislatures, president of India, vice president. So all these elections are conducted by the election commission of India. Okay, don't get confused with the local body elections. These are conducted by the state election commission. Okay, these are conducted by the state election commission. And coming to the other important current affair, second one. So what is that? Global economic prospects. Global economic prospects. So who released this particular global economic prospects? World Bank. Okay, World Bank released the global economic. So this global economic prospects actually tries to predict the global economic environment, how the economy of the entire world is running. Okay, global economic situation. Especially because as far as India is concerned, it says that for India, the economic growth for 2021-22 would be 8.3 percentage. So the forecast of the World Bank is very positive for India. Okay, and but global economic growth is still below the pre-pandemic level. It is 2% below the pre-pandemic level, and it has estimated the global growth would be 5.6 percentage. 5.6 percentage. Okay, so they may not ask you what is the predicted economic growth, but they may ask you global economic prospects is released by which of the following agency. And coming to other reports released by this particular World Bank, first one, ease of doing business, EOBD, actually it is called EOBD. Second one, human capital index, human capital index, this is the second report. Third one, world development report, world development report. Coming to the fourth one, migration and development report, migration and development report. And fifth one, which is global economic prospects. Now we are discussing about that report only, global economic prospects. So these are the 5 important reports you must always remember. It is important for all the examination, including UPSC. In UPSC also, examiners have asked many times the reports versus the agencies which have released them. Okay, so global economic prospects, ease of doing business, human capital index, world development report, migration and development report, these are released by the World Bank. Okay, right. Coming to the third important thing, railways gets 5 megahertz spectrum. 5 megahertz spectrum. Why it became a news? Okay, the reason is even till today railways are using the optical fiber technology, that is cable line for the internet, because internet is very important for the railway communication between the guards and loco pilots, okay, stations, for administrative purpose, for everything the communication is very important. So government had allocated a 5 megahertz spectrum in the range of 700 megahertz frequency. Okay, don't get into the technicalities, but this particular technology is very handy in preventing train collisions. Basically we have a technology called train collision avoidance system. So that is also called TCAS, train collision avoidance system. So basically what is this technology is, it is a kind of microprocessor based technology. What is this technology? Microprocessor based technology. What it helps, in what way it helps, it will try to predict what is the speed of the rail, what is the speed of the train, what is the direction of the travel, what is the distance that is traveled by the train. In this way the upcoming collisions will be prevented by this particular technology. Okay, and coming to other facts about this particular technology, where there will be the use of LTE means long term evolution. So basically if you use 4G, that is Geo, it shows LTE. LTE means long term evolution. Okay, so this is the technology on which this particular mobile train radio communication system will be based, so that the communication system will be very much streamlined across the levels which in the railways. Okay, and coming to other benefits out of this particular technology, as I told you, this will help you in seamless communication. Because the communication, there will be no more hurdles of communication or gaps of communication between the loco pilots, okay, and also the railway guards, so that every time the imminent dangers or imminent emergencies can be easily addressed because of the hassle free or hurdle free communication between the personnel who are working in the train. Okay, and secondly, it will be securing the reliable voice data, okay, and as well as safety and security application. So in this way this technology goes in a long way in addressing a lot of problems which are based on the communication system. Okay, so we have to understand these railways are going to be upgraded in the technological way because of the spectrum that is being awarded. So how much money the government is going to spend? 25,000 crores. Okay, 25,000 crores have been allocated for this particular technology. Okay, so the very important point here you have to understand is, remember, is LTE based communication system and 5 megahertz spectrum, and it is going to help in the train collision avoidance system, that is called TCAS. And railways are, even till today, they are using the optical fiber technology. Okay, right. Coming to fourth important current affair, that is seventh national park that is going to be established in the Assam. That was established, in fact, Dehing Patkai National Park. Patkai National Park. So if you remember in the yesterday's class, I was discussing about a national park that was recognized as a sixth national park, that is Raimona National Park. Raimona National Park. It was the sixth national park, whereas this particular Dehing Patkai National Park is the seventh national park. Okay, so basically, you may get a doubt who recognizes the national park. In fact, actually, we have Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. It actually described how the national parks can be identified or assigned. Okay, so basically, the national parks are notified by which government, whether it is the state government or central government, by the state government. Okay, by the state government. So why the national parks are notified? Basically, national parks will be having lot of ecological importance. What is that? Ecological importance. And they will be having lot of zoological and botanical association. Botanical association. So basically, we have to preserve the ecology, specific geological association, as well as the botanical association in the context of increased human activity. So that's the reason why in the national park, no human activity is permitted. No human activity is permitted. And but of course, sometimes there will be some exemptions. These exemptions are provided by chief wildlife warden. Chief wildlife warden. So, okay, under this particular Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, he will be permitting the entry into the national park, but not in the usual way. Okay, right. Let us learn something about this particular national park. Okay, right. So basically, this particular Dihing Patkai National Park, why it was named as Dihing Patkai National Park? Because there is a river called Dihing River, which passes through this particular forest, passes through this particular forest. And secondly, there are hills called Patkai Hills. Basically, you also remember in Assam, the Patkai Hills are there. In the examination, questions may be asked where these Patkai Hills are located. Okay, in that way, the question may be asked. So, at the foothills of the Patkai Hills, this particular national park is located. And this is also known as Jaipur rainforest. Jaipur rainforest. It is also known as Jaipur rainforest. And moreover, very important species that you can find in this particular national park is, okay, you can find a high concentration of rare and endangered species of white winged wood duck. What is that species? White winged wood duck, which is found in this particular national park. So I shall tell you very important points regarding the national parks in India overall. Okay, so there are three states, okay, which are having highest national parks. Let us rank first three important states. Highest number of national parks are found in the state of Madhya Pradesh. How many? 12 national parks. And in the Andaman Nicobar, which is the union territory, so in this particular area, you would find 9 national parks. In the state of Assam, you would find 7 national parks. So Assam stands in the third position. Assam stands in the third position, and whereas Madhya Pradesh stands in the first position in India. Okay, this much you have to remember. And coming to, because yesterday itself we have discussed, for the sake of refreshing your memory, let us also discuss something about Raimona National Park. So Raimona National Park is the sixth national park which was recognized, and also it is found in the BOTR, Borderland Territorial Region. It is bounded in the western region. It is bounded by Sankosh River, this particular Raimona National Park, and in the eastern region it is bounded by Saralbanga National River. Saralbanga River. So these are the two rivers which would border this particular Raimona National Park. Okay. Then coming to other important current affair. So we are discussing the fifth one. That is, a book was released by Minister of State for Ayush. What is his name? Kiren Rijiju. Kiren Rijiju. So he had released a particular book that is called 20 Medicinal Plants. 20 Medicinal Plants for 2021 for COVID-19 care. So in this book, 20 medicinal plants have been explained, their utility, their nomenclature, and what is their vernacular name. Vernacular name means what is it is called in the local language. In this way, the book highlighted the importance of the medicinal plants and their therapeutic properties. Basically, after this particular COVID-19, in the absence of a perfect medicine in the allopathy, lot of focus being made on the Ayush medicine. So in this context, this book tries to highlight the importance of the plants in addressing the disease outbreak. Okay, this ebook was prepared by National Medicinal Plants Board. National Medicinal Plants Board. Okay, so this board had actually released this particular ebook, and moreover, this book records the botanical names. What is that? Botanical names, vernacular names, okay, and also chemical constituents that are found in this particular plants are completely described and elaborated by this particular book, that is 20 medicinal plants for 2021 for COVID care. Please remember what is this book, 20 medicinal plants for 2021 for COVID-19 care, which is released by National Medicinal Plant Board. Okay, then coming to the next important current affair, that is the sixth one. Okay, what is that? The Auckland city of New Zealand figured top in the most livable cities of the world. Most livable cities of world. Why it was recognized? The reason is the way this particular city had fought with COVID-19, and what happened, it had quickly recovered from the COVID pandemic, and very quickly it had lifted the restrictions due to the COVID-19. So all the economic activities started open in this particular city. So this is what the resilience that was identified by this particular economic intelligence unit. So this particular economic intelligence unit, which publishes the most livable cities of the world. Okay, so in this particular list, this particular Auckland city of New Zealand had figured in the top rank. Okay, what are the other cities which were ranked in this particular report? Second rank goes to Osaka of Japan, and third rank goes to Adelaide of Australia. Adelaide of Australia. So this is what very important information as far as this world's most livable cities. So first city is the Auckland city, second city is the Osaka city, and third one is the Adelaide city of the this particular Australia. So what are the issues that will be monitored in this particular report? 5 indicators. There are 5 indicators for the livability. So which include, first one, stability, and the second one, health care. Coming to the third one, it is the education. Coming to the fourth one, it is the culture and environment, and fifth one, which is infrastructure. So these are the 5 indicators based on which the most livable cities of the world are identified. So the first rank went to Auckland city of New Zealand. Okay, and coming to the other current affairs, so coming to the 7th one. Okay, Gujarat had launched the just a second. Gujarat had launched e-Nirman portal. Okay, it had launched e-Nirman portal, which is very important scheme for the uh, unorganized sectors. Okay, the unorganized sectors have been given the importance in this particular e-Nirman portal, and this particular portal addresses the issues regarding the workers who are working in the unorganized sector. Okay, so basically the unorganized sectors are people are given the what is the what is the cards that are given to these unorganized workers is U-Win cards, U-Win smart cards. So these U-Win smart cards will help the workers in addressing all the issues that they come across. For example, as a part of this particular initiative, the Gujarat government had started Ma Amrutam scheme. What is that? Ma Amrutam scheme. This Ma Amrutam scheme will be helping the unorganized sector people in getting the hospital services at the cheaper cost. And secondly, the Shramik Annapurna scheme. What is that scheme? Shramik Annapurna scheme. So this would give affordable meals to the workers who are working in this particular unorganized sector. And coming to other important scheme, that is Rajasthan had launched Anupratik scheme. What is that? Anupratik scheme. In this Anupratik scheme, what is the major advantage of this particular scheme is it will help in giving service to the underprivileged students. It means the underprivileged students whoever take the coaching, so those will be given scholarship, those will be given money, and those will be given some other important assistance from the government. Okay, so students may be writing CLAT exam, students may be writing civil services prelims exam. Okay, so in all these aspects the government will be giving scholarships for the students. Okay, so this is what the Anupratik scheme. What is that scheme? Anupratik scheme, because in the examination even the state government schemes may be asked. Okay, and lastly we are going to discuss ACI Pacific Green Airports recognition. Green Airports recognition. So basically two important airports, especially the airport of Delhi and airport of Hyderabad. These are two airports which are run by the GMR only. So this particular ACI Pacific Green Airports Recognition Award, which is given for those airports which are running on the basis of sustainability, or those airports which are recognized as green airports. Okay, lesser emissions of carbon dioxide are emitted by these airports. For their successful running, these awards are given. Okay, so for this year 2021, this particular Delhi got platinum award, and coming to Hyderabad, which got gold award. Platinum award for the Delhi airport and green award for the Hyderabad. Okay, so ACI means this is what Airport Council International, Airport Council International, which recognizes those airports which are following environmentally best practices. Okay, right. So thank you friends, thank you for watching this video. I'll be joining with the next video tomorrow. Thank you so much.